When you picture a Roman gladiator, what comes to mind? A muscular man, sword and shield in hand, fighting to the death in the Colosseum, right? But what if I told you that some of these legendary fighters were women? Yes, female gladiators or gladiatrices were a real though rare phenomenon in ancient Rome, and their story is one of the most fascinating, yet often overlooked chapters of history. So let's travel back in time. The Roman world was a brutal, male-dominated society. For most women, life was confined to the home, their roles defined as wives and mothers. Yet against this backdrop, a select few defied every convention, stepping into the blood-soaked sand of the arena. But why? What would drive a woman to choose such a violent and dangerous path? The motivations were likely as varied as the women themselves. For some, it might have been a desperate bid for freedom. Many gladiators were enslaved people, prisoners of war or criminals, and fighting in the arena offered a slim, but possible, chance to earn their liberty and a significant sum of money. Imagine the crushing weight of debt or the hopelessness of bondage. For these women, the arena, however terrifying, might have seemed like the only way out. For others, particularly women from the upper classes, the reasons were likely far different. Believe it or not, some historical accounts mention noblewomen from senatorial or equestrian families voluntarily taking up the gladiator's sword. This was scandalous, a shocking break from decorum. Why would they do it? Perhaps for the thrill, the adrenaline rush, the desire to escape the rigid constraints of their aristocratic lives. It was the ultimate act of rebellion, a search for fame and notoriety in a world that offered them very little personal glory. This wasn't just for show. It highlighted their skill and bravery. They weren't just brawlers. They were trained athletes. Evidence suggests they trained in the same gladiator schools, or ludi, as the men, learning from the same masters. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence we have comes from Halicarnassus in modern-day Turkey. It's a marble relief dating to the 1st or 2nd century AD. This incredible carving depicts two female gladiators, locked in combat. They're equipped like standard male gladiators, with shields, swords, greaves, and arm guards. But their heads are bare, their faces visible. Their names are even carved below them, Achilles and Amazon. These names are powerful, invoking the mythical Greek hero Achilles and the legendary tribe of warrior women, the Amazons. The inscription also tells us they were granted an honorable release, or missio, meaning they both survived the duel and were discharged with distinction. They fought so bravely that the crowd and the organizer of the games decided they both deserved to live. This wasn't a fight to the death. It was a display of supreme skill, and they were celebrated for it. Literary sources also offer glimpses into their world. The Roman historian Tacitus wrote about a lavish event held by Emperor Nero in 63 AD, which featured women of high rank fighting in the arena. The poet Martial also described the spectacle under Emperor Domitian, where a woman fought in the manner of Hercules, felling a lion in the amphitheater. The poet Juvenal, however, was less impressed. He wrote scathingly about what he saw as the moral decay of Rome, complaining about highborn women who would pant over the training poles and relish the dirt and grime of gladiator school. His disdain actually helps confirm their existence and shows just how shocking their presence was to the Roman elite. So, what was their status? It was complicated. On one hand, gladiators were superstars. They were celebrities, adored by the masses. Graffiti from Pompeii praises specific fighters, and they were often the subjects of art and popular obsession. Female gladiators, being such a novelty, would have attracted immense attention. But on the other hand, gladiators were in fame's infamous. So, a noble woman who chose this life was willingly sacrificing her social standing for a taste of glory in the sand. It was a paradox. They were simultaneously celebrated and condemned, admired for their courage while being shamed for their profession. This controversial chapter of Roman history, however, was destined to be short-lived. As the Roman Empire evolved, so did its sensibilities, at least on the surface. In the year 200 AD, Emperor Septimius Severus issued an edict that changed everything. He banned women from participating in gladiatorial combat. Why? The official reason was likely a concern for public morality. The sight of women, especially noble women, fighting and bleeding in the arena was seen as a threat to the traditional Roman values of female modesty and domesticity. It was a spectacle that, for the ruling class, had gone too far. It undermined the very social order they sought to uphold. And so, just as suddenly as they had appeared, the gladiatrices vanished from the historical record. Their legacy was buried, and for centuries, their stories were dismissed as mere myth or exaggeration. But the archaeological and literary evidence is clear. They were real. They were fighters, rebels, and survivors who carved out their own legends in the most brutal theater on earth. The story of the female gladiators is more than just a historical curiosity. It's a powerful reminder that women have always been a part of history's most dramatic moments, even when their stories are silenced or forgotten. They challenge our perceptions of ancient Rome and of the roles women have played throughout history. They were women who refused to be defined by the expectations of their time, choosing instead a life of danger, fame, and a radical kind of freedom. Their time in the sun, or rather, in the sand of the arena, was brief, but their courage echoes through the centuries. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to ancient Rome. If you found this story as captivating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. Let me know in the comments what you think about the gladiatrices. See you next time. When a female gladiator refused to kill her defeated opponent, she violated not just the rules of the arena, but the sacred oath that bound her. The crowd's reaction would have been immediate and vicious. Romans attended the games expecting blood and resolution. A fighter who showed what they perceived as cowardice or inappropriate mercy disrupted the spectacle and cheated spectators of the death they had paid to witness. The asterisk editor asterisk faced a choice: allow this defiance to stand and risk undermining the game's authority, or make an example that would ensure no other gladiator dared follow suit. The crowd would chant their demands, thousands of voices unified in bloodlust, drowning out any plea for mercy. The punishment for such refusal was never officially codified in surviving legal text, but practical reality left no ambiguity. A gladiator who refused to fight forfeited the protections of their status. They were no longer a competitor in a regulated contest, but a condemned criminal. Their fate was sealed the moment they lowered their weapon. Guards would surround the defiant fighter, disarm her, and drag her from the arena floor. What followed depended on the asterisk editor's asterisk imagination and the crowd's bloodlust, but mercy was never among the options. For female gladiators, the refusal to kill carried additional layers of meaning in Roman eyes. Romans already viewed female gladiators as unnatural women who had rejected their proper roles as wives and mothers. When such a woman then refused to kill, she confirmed every prejudice. She was weak, she was foolish. She lacked the asterisk virtues asterisk, the masculine courage that might have redeemed her transgression of gender norms. The execution of defiant female gladiators typically occurred during the midday interval of the games, the period traditionally reserved for asterisk ad bestias, asterisk executions, and other forms of capital punishment. While morning featured animal hunts and afternoon brought prestigious gladiatorial matches, midday belonged to the damned. A female gladiator who refused to fight might be stripped of her armor and dragged into the arena wearing only a tunic or nothing at all. Romans used nudity as part of the punishment, stripping away dignity along with clothing. She would be bound to a stake at the arena S-center or chained to a platform that prevented escape. Then the animals would be released leopards, bears, or lions, deliberately starved to make them aggressive. The condemned would have no weapons, no means of defense, only the awareness of what approached. The beast would circle first, testing, while the crowd roared encouragement. The wait could stretch for minutes or hours, psychological torture, preceding physical destruction. Some executions incorporated theatrical elements, transforming punishment into mythological reenactment. A defiant female gladiator might be cast as Deers, the mythological queen tied to a bull and dragged to death, or as one of the Danaids condemned to eternal punishment for murdering their husbands. These spectacles satisfied Roman audiences' desire for both justice and entertainment, wrapping brutal punishment in the legitimizing cloak of cultural reference. Another form of execution involved forcing the condemned to fight against impossible odds. A woman who refused to kill one opponent might be thrust back into the arena facing multiple armed fighters with only a wooden sword or dagger. The outcome was predetermined, but the spectacle lay in watching her realize escape was impossible. Emperor Septimius Severus' ban on female gladiators in 200 CE ended the phenomena of women fighting in the arena, but it did not grant freedom to those already enslaved in the system. The ban's language focused on preventing new recruitment, not liberating existing gladiatrices. Women who had signed the oath or been forced into service remained bound to their contracts. The few female gladiators who survived to see Severus' ban faced impossible choices. Freedom required paying off their contracts, an impossibility for most. Running away meant death if captured. Staying meant accepting whatever new degradation their owners devised. Some chose suicide over the alternatives, taking control of their ends in the only way remaining to them. Others disappeared into the empire's vast network of brothels and labor camps, their gladiatorial past becoming a shameful secret never spoken aloud. Archaeological evidence of individual female gladiators ends abruptly in the early 3rd century, coinciding with Severus' decree. The oil lamps, the figurines, the relief carvings all stop. The amphitheaters where these women fought still stand, monuments to Roman engineering and Roman cruelty. The Colosseum sand, stained by thousands of deaths, absorbed the blood of female gladiators who fought, refused, and died. The Roman crowds who cheered these executions believed they were witnessing justice, the necessary punishment of those who violated sacred oaths and disrupted social order. But perhaps the most disturbing truth is how ordinary these horrors were to those who inflicted them. For Rome, this was simply another day at the games.